A special greeting to all of you. My name is Jamil SALMI. I come originally from Morocco. After being the higher education coordinator at the World Bank for many years, I now work as an independent expert, providing advice on the contribution of higher education to governments and university leaders all over the world. To welcome you at this conference, I would like to share with you a quote from the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who in 2014 expressed very clearly the new opportunities that higher education can provide to developing countries. I quote, "All regions can benefit from progress towards a knowledge-based economy, which does not depend heavily on material resources, places less of a burden on ecosystems, and is more sustainable than other economic models. Knowledge does not deplete with use, but rather increases as it is shared among people. Through technological innovation, we can help usher in a more sustainable future." Some of you may have read books by the Israeli historian Yuval Harari. The one that impressed me most, Homo sapiens, leaves us with a pessimistic view of mankind's chances of making it as a species. According to the scientific evidence analyzed by Harari, we are doomed, and so is our planet. I must say that when I see the behavior of so-called leaders during the present COVID-19 crisis, for example, Trump in the USA, Bolsonaro in Brazil, or closer to Mauritius, President Magufuli of Tanzania, it is hard not to share Harari's diagnosis about our collective suicide path. It is indeed ironic to observe that the two countries with the highest numbers of COVID-19 deaths are the US and the UK. These are the countries which supposedly have the best universities in the world and the greatest number of medicine Nobel Prize winners. These two countries illustrate sadly the total disconnect between scientific power and actual policy action. Your task as young scientists, therefore, is to construct bridges between the world of scientific discovery and the political, social, and cultural arenas. When I observe how, since the beginning of the current pandemic, young researchers at universities all over the world have shown innovative responses to develop faster and cheaper ways of diagnosing the virus, to find an effective treatment, and eventually to produce a vaccine to protect mankind, I remain optimistic. The science fiction novel Mars imagined how the human race could unite to achieve the scientific feat of bringing back alive a single person left behind far away from our planet. So I'm convinced that if young scientists all over the world start working together, we could find durable solutions to overcome many of the threats that we are facing: hunger, poverty, disease, and climate change. As former President Obama said in his commencement address to a college in the US last week, I quote, "This pandemic has woken a lot of young people up to the fact that the old ways of doing things just don't work, that it doesn't matter how much money you make if everyone around you is hungry and sick, and that our society and our democracy only work when we think not just about ourselves, but about each other." He went on saying, It's also pulled the curtain back on another hard truth, something that we all have to eventually accept once our childhood comes to an end. All those adults that you used to think were in charge and knew what they were doing, turns out that they don't have all the answers, and a lot of them aren't even asking the right questions. So if the world's going to get better, it is going to be up to you. End of quote. In conclusion, as young scientists, you all have a heavy responsibility on your shoulders. Not only must you continue your good work as researchers or innovators, but your scientific focus should not make you oblivious of purpose. You should strive to discover solutions to the world's most pressing challenges. This means that you must behave as scientists with a conscience, always remembering the wise words of John Gardner. In questions of mind, there is no medium term. Either we look for the best or we live with the worst. Thank you so much for inviting me to share a few words with you. May you have a successful and productive conference. And always, please, always do remember that you are the future intellectual leaders of your countries of origin. You must accomplish this goal with the highest standards of professionalism and integrity.